Let's have a closer look at the first pictures of the real Red Bull RB18. Red Bull shows a pretty radical design and there are lots of features to talk about. For those who are new to my channel, I'm Martin. I've been working for Audi in Germany in various departments of their technical development for 7 years. I moved to the UK and worked for McLaren, Force India and Racing Point in the years 2017, 18, 19 and 20 in their aerodynamics departments. And today I'm a self-employed motorsport consultant. Let's start at the front. The front wing is relatively high for a clean underbody flow and has a detached first element like many others. It also has a backed-off section in the center, but in comparison to Alfa Romeo, Red Bull only needs 7 stays to connect the forward element instead of 10. The flap adjustment is at the very outside and the adjustable flap very long compared to other teams. The front suspension is one highlight of the car. Like McLaren, Red Bull opted for a pull rod suspension that combines that with an aggressive anti-dive concept like Alfa Romeo. Because of that, they can position the suspension components lower in the nose and the upper wishbone has an extreme angle. The bodywork is another extreme design. It features high inlets, a massive undercut and large sidepods that use the width of the rack box and create a gentle downwash at the back. The concept is similar to the Alpine, which also combines large sidepods, undercut and downwash. So also the Red Bull sits in the large sidepod category. But the Red Bull takes it a bit further. We can see how they use the strong airflow from around the upper wishbone leg to guide it through the undercut. So while the upper front wheel wake is pushed outside by the bodywork and the lower one is pushed outside by the barge board, this strong airflow in the middle pushes the middle wake outside. The sidepods stay wide for long to keep the wake outboard and then pull in, while creating downwash at the same time. So it looks like Red Bull cared a lot about wake management and they did everything they could to keep the wake outside. If we look closely, we can see that the barge boards at the front are actually a double board design that could squeeze the flow between them and shoot a jet downwards that could seal the sides like a curtain. Very interesting interpretation of the rules. They just give you a box for the barge board, they don't say how many you can fit in them. Another interesting detail is the forward scoop of the sidepod, which actually makes the undercut look even bigger. This also helps to keep more air underneath in the undercut area. The mirror stays form a straight wing on the inside and a vortex generator on the outside. The housing itself uses a drag-reducing design we know from recent years. At the back of the bodywork, we can see a clear flow path for the air exit, and an outlet that, as predicted, reminds us of the RB9 from 2013, where they released air between beam wing and rear wing for the last time. The rear suspension is a pushrod design, as we could guess from what we have seen at AlphaTauri. This helps to make space for the floor and keeps the flow to the beam wing clean. Interesting will be if the suspension members on top of the gearbox will be used for any thermal effects since the exhaust is also running on top of the gearbox. Right now, it looks like the exhaust comes out of the bell housing after the pretty forward-sitting suspension parts. The rear wing uses a single pillar and a high downforce configuration in the center with a long chord mainplane and short chord flap. In the testing pictures, we can already see the undisturbed flow on the suction side of the mainplane. The beam wing is another interesting interpretation of the regulations, as they say that 2 sections are allowed. But they don't say how these sections have to be arranged to each other. So instead of using a 2-element design with a slot gap like others, Red Bull chose a double-decker design, which is also 2 sections, but with much more wing area. The end plates of the rear wing are bent outside to improve extraction at the rear. The floor has an interesting structure at the side that could bring vortices underneath the car. At the back, we see a cutout like we have seen on other cars. As always, Red Bull shows an impressive interpretation of the regulations, a clean design and, with what we have seen so far, tidy flow around the car, something Red Bull is known for. What do you think of the new Red Bull RB18? Let me know in the comments below.